Well, one of the things is that because Americans used to hate costume drama, so that and because they thought that it's nothing to do with them. You know, the history is past. You know, it's gone.
They didn't have their costume period. You know,
and these people didn't think like us, and they wore silly costumes and things. And I think that what's happened is now we've made, and I think Tudor's helped a lot in that, is they may dress differently, but they're like us. Their issues are similar. They're human beings. You know. And lo and behold, even the Vikings are human beings. You know, they have families, they have concerns, they love and hate and things. And in a way, it's also because it's real. If you do, I personally, it's just a personal opinion, but I don't like fantasy, okay, because I don't connect to it. But we know that, you know, there were Vikings. The Vikings came to North America hundreds of years before Columbus. It's real stuff, you know, we're connected to these people. You know, they're part of our collective history. So we're reaching out to people and saying, this is part of your heritage. And of course it's exciting. If you describe it like that, if you communicate it like that, people get excited. That's a good question. No, I just find that, you know, I create this world basically, and the way into the world is through the characters as much as anything else. But I've done huge amounts of research, obviously, and I have my little study, and when I go into that, I can almost totally shut everything else off, and I'm just with these people, and I love being with them, you know, and they really speak to me, and they're alive, and they're part of my daily life. And I start every day, and I go for like a 2-mile walk with my dog, and while I'm walking out, I'm thinking how I'm going to start and where they're going to go. You know, it's like going into my study and saying to these guys, okay, show me something today. You know, where are we going to go? What are we going to do? You know, it's like, surprise me. Because the only thing about this, if they don't surprise me, then they're not going to surprise you. You know, so I've got to be kind of delighted and go, oh wow, you know. And sometimes that comes out of the material. It's like you read something, he did that. You know, well,
so you're like, you want to do what?
Yeah. So,
are you sure? Okay.
Yeah, so I don't need any music or anything, but my head is absolutely filled with these people, you know. And I can more or less shut them out when I leave the study, when I go into the house with my kids and everything. That's a different reality, and that's fine. I didn't know, it was only later that someone said, oh, you was married 3 times or something. But I have a historical consultant who's a friend of mine, and he sent me a biography of Ragnar in which there were only 2 wives. And I was happy to have 2 wives in this case. It sort of, from the structure of it, that helped me. So I make some decisions based on what helps me to structure it and give it momentum, and what kind of stories I'm trying to tell inside the bigger story. So you know, it's all based on historical reading and realities and things, but I'm making choices and selecting things and emphasizing some things, or taking what I need and want out of it, you know. So it's not a documentary. You know, you wouldn't go there to find out exactly. Hopefully it will lead people to go and read books about the Vikings. You know, that's what I hope, and I'm sure that's true. They went to read books about Tudors after the Tudors. Well, I tried to make the motivations plausible, based on what I know about the characters. But of course, you know, I'm a dramatist, so you operate with conflict. But as soon as I had that idea of doing Ragnar Lothbrok and his sons and I knew certain conflicts with it, I knew that there were certain conflicts in his history. I mean, he was jealous of his sons and their fame, for example. But then the idea that he, you know, one of the basic things would be his rivalry with his brother and everything. and that I knew that Vikings were very family orientated. I knew that he had brothers and things. So it comes out of research, but then it's about being a dramatist. Where are the conflicts? Where do they lead to? Can they lead to surprising places? And then, of course, other things come in because the productions say, you can't have that battle or you can't have that scene. So then you've got to reinvent. You've got to say, okay, what can I do instead of that? So it's always a question of solving problems. And some of the problems you set yourself, but essentially you're solving these problems. How do I build to a climax? There are 5 little climaxes in each episode of this show. 5 commercial breaks. It's amazing, to have a cliffhanger.